Hi, welcome to Liquidity Alpha, your go-to platform for liquidity tracking. Hey Justin, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
Good. It was pretty good, Ankit. How was yours?
Yeah, good, good, awesome. I thought today we can look at ETHFI. ETHFI has been on rampage last couple of days, so we thought we can spend time looking at ETHFI for the entire session today.
Yeah, it seems like you were telling me about it, and it definitely seems like it had an interesting past few days. Uh, was there anything special, any news-related activity on it, or how did it come to your attention?
No, I think it's a coin that we have followed for some time, and I think they're like we like the technology that they're building. They are in the Ethereum ecosystem, and definitely one of the players that emerged in 2023. And we do follow them as well. So I thought, it's something we've watched this project for some time, and I just saw them pop up. So I thought it'll be good to look at, and sort of this is also a new format we're going to try, compared to last week when we were looking at three different coins. I think this week we can just focus more on just one coin, but really focus holistically rather than just quickly jumping through the price action.
Yeah, it was getting a little hectic last week. Three
Yeah.
coins, several views for each, and yeah, so cool.
So yeah, let's look at the hourly time frame, and then we can sort of zoom out from there and look at big picture also what has happened from the start when they went, sort of, with the token sale.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, like you said, we're here on the 1 hour, and we see this this bid stepping in. So we see the liquidity turns bullish right around Sunday, May 25th at about 6 p.m. Eastern. We get this nice bullish. The candle switches from this purple red to this nice neon blue, and so that tells us that it's bullish liquidity has entered the scene. We see it does like a really nice 5%, 4.78% candle, maintains the bullish liquidity, tests this support level right here. It looks like it bounced up, made it through that resistance we can see here at like $1.30. Made it through that with bullish liquidity and went all the way to test the next resistance up here at what looks to be about $1.50 and $1.51. Looks like we're coming off a bounce from testing that support or resistance, but it looks like with our liquidity still being bullish, it looks like another test is definitely brewing for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think 150. I mean, I think the coin, which we'll look at, when ETHFI got launched, it was trading at $8 as high, I think, around that number. And
Hmm.
it dropped as low as dollar, I believe, even below dollar, if I'm not wrong. So it's a good enough support, right? It jumped through in last couple of days, and now obviously testing 150. I think it's a great like number to test. Obviously, price point to test. So the liquidity right now is what we're looking at is like liquidity is there is a resistance line at $1.51, right, and then there's plenty of support on the around $1.29 mark, right? A lot of liquidity sitting
Hmm.
around $1.29.
Yep. And yeah, nice support.
Nice support. So these are the ranges we're looking at. Is upside is 151, but once it breaks through 151, which I think it will, it might.
Hmm.
Given how strong it was, it came, from where the price it came from. What do you think?
Right.
Once it breaks 151, what is the next level to look out for?
Right. So I would say I piggyback off what you said, where is there going to be a retest? And I think I agree. And just from a purely liquidity background, as long as the liquidity flows are bullish, like we see, then yeah, the expected next step would be to test the resistance if there is any resistance.
Right.
But then you ask, well, what happens if we test the resistance and then break through?
Yeah.
The in this view at the 1 hour, that just becomes bullish until something changes, until either the bearish liquidity starts poking its head back up, or
Right.
we see the resistance and support lines maybe start drastically changing. But the name of the game is if we break through that support at $1.51, it looks like right now, as long as the liquidity is bullish, then
Okay.
up we go.
Yeah. So if we zoom out now to maybe a 4-hour window, and let's have a look, what are the liquidity resistance and support sitting at?
It seems like we have a somewhat similar view. So it looks like we're coming off of this pretty bearish stint, this liquidity, just bearish flows that started earlier in May. It's mid-May. We've just now kind of fixed that on the 4-hour view, and we're printing bullish liquidity prints. And we tested, it looks like the liquidity ceiling here at what's currently at $1.49. And so it looks like, and liquidity is still bullish. So the expectation is it's going to test that, and then we can see here the last time it broke through the support with bullish liquidity. It went from
That's
59.
Wait, that was 8th of May, right?
Yeah.
So that's when it broke through that resistance.
And that's at 58 cents and some change, and then we see bearish liquidity popped back up at $1.27.9, $1.28. So that's quite,
that's 3x.
probably not
300%. Right?
Yeah. I was trying to do the math in my head. Yeah, I mean, it's up there, right? Like you're definitely
Yeah.
doubling something. So and that's kind of the name of the game with these liquidity levels. Like as long as it breaks through, and it maintains that bullish liquidity, you just kind of, even when these dips occur, as long as the liquidity is bullish, you expect it's going to keep going up until things change.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, it looks like here we have that nice support at like $1.13, and this resistance at like $1.49.
49 cents. What about a one day range? What happens if we? And I want us to go back and look at what happened also, if we can see some interesting patterns there. Nothing
Sure.
I guess that there's not enough data, right? That's what we're looking at.
Well, we have enough for these two support lines to pop up, but I think the main takeaway is that since 11th of March, it's been bullish liquidity, and even though the price may have dipped in the middle, the liquidity flows are still bullish, and they're still bullish now. And just like we kind of said earlier, with if there's no real support or no ceiling above, then as long as things are bullish, then the outlook is that it's gonna just keep going up. So we actually have clear skies here. It looks like on the daily view, as long with bullish liquidity. And then you mentioned you wanted to go back and look, and because it looks like it's a young coin, and you said it got pretty high.
Yeah, it got
on
launched.
inception. So we have like $8.70.
Yeah, it got launched last year, I think this time around, maybe April last year, and it did touch 850-ish, 860 as you said, and then, but it was all according to the liquidity measurement. It's all bearish when it got launched. From the day it got launched all the way to March this year, I think it's all bearish this time frame, right?
Yeah, we have, and that's pretty unique, I think.
What does that mean,
maybe
Justin? What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Like, what does it mean to have bearish liquidity from the day it got launched? Because that's not what we think. We think when it gets launched on exchanges, this is what crypto community thinks about, right? And I'm obviously just putting my spin to it. They think when the coin gets launched, everyone finds out about the coin, and then obviously people jump in to buy the coin. But what you're saying is opposite. You're saying it's illiquid. Well, not illiquid, but it's sort of showing that it was the bearish liquidity there.
Right.
How do I
and we
reconcile
can see
to?
Yeah, how do you reconcile? Magic's numbers are magic sometimes. I don't know. For some reason, not every coin starts out with this bearish print, and you could argue it definitely missed the mark of going up to $8.70, right? But the point is that the candles are, the liquidity is a forward facing, it's the expectation of what things are going to do. And so even as the price was rising, it was just detecting that this was essentially probably a very aggressive bull trap, right? And we can see that it just maintained this outlook of bearish performance for the future until well after it was established. It seems like August 17th, 2024, things started leveling out. We had another bout of this bearish liquidity. It seems it started December 24th, and yeah, and like you said, it's just ending now. But in terms of, I'm not a crypto expert, so it's however the conditions were when this coin was released. The liquidity algorithms were, they just hopped on the bearish train and just stayed there. It seems.
Well, what are the
Yeah.
interpretations, right? One of the interpretations, perhaps, which may not be true, is that they were parties that had gotten hold of this coin were selling it. Is that the way to
It, yeah,
to look at it?
definitely. Let's look at the like a shorter time frame, and look at like what. Yeah, we still get. So let's look at 1 hour. If we can go back that far.
Oh
I don't know
boy.
if there's an easier way to do this. Yeah, it gets messy. So let's see. I'm just seeing. So we see this nice. So it definitely started with these bearish prints. Looks like we did get some nice bullish liquidity bidded. This is on the 1 hour view.
Right.
So each one of these candles is 1 hour. So this is quite a lot of time we're seeing. And so we get some bullish liquidity, and looks like that maintained until 7:30. And then things just kind of started going down since. So yeah, on inception, I think you're in from the daily view all the way zoomed out. Maybe some of the details were getting muddied, and it just
Right.
bearish all the way through. But zooming in, we see that it was bearish to begin for certain that we can see, but it did experience this nice surge of bullish liquidity that just kept it going. But yeah, at some point it looks like around 7:40, whoever was bidding up, or it's either, from this view, it's either two possibilities, right? So either the person or the parties bidding the coin and introducing the bullish liquidity,
Yeah.
they just stepped out, or they then switched and became like the provider of that bearish liquidity, pushing the price down.
Right. Right. Interesting, because if I'm the
But yeah, so that definitely sees.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say there's so
Go,
many.
yeah, I'm gonna.
There's so many interpretations, but I think it's great to look at this data. But moving forward, I think it's looking very healthy, right? That's the way to put it.
Yeah, like we see this. I think on the several of the views as we zoomed out, we saw this ceiling here about $1.50 that this bullish liquidity is going to have to chew through, and it may take a test or two, but as long as the liquidity is bullish, we can expect that it's eventually going to pass. And then worst comes to worst, we seem to have this nice support here at $1.29. So, even if we go down a little bit lower, it has, at least we can expect it to pause there before bouncing back up,
Cool.
kind of like it did here on this support.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
That's
thanks for introducing that. That's a cool coin.
Yeah.
I think we should look at more coins, their inceptions too, to see if there's like any kind of patterns we can find with,
Yeah. Yeah.
starting right out with certain kinds of liquidity.
Yeah. I think we will, and I think I like this format more than like rushing through 3 different coins. We'll just focus on one coin and perhaps spend longer duration on each coin to discuss what we see from a liquidity framework perspective, rather than just a traditional support resistance perspective, which I think a lot of people do it, and it's great that they do it. But I think the framework we are creating here is liquidity framework, which is rather new for most people.
Right. Yeah. I think it's new now, but it won't be soon.
We don't think it will be, but that's great, Justin. Look, thank you so much, and we reconnect tomorrow with a different coin.
Yep. I'll see you then. Ankit. Have a good one.
Cheers, man. Thank